Hello and welcome to another episode of The Lazy Hypnotherapist. I am your host, as always, Lily. I am a certified hypnotherapist and a trainer of conversational hypnosis. And this is the second time I'm recording this because I got 5 minutes into the last episode and I realized I hadn't turned my microphone on. So yay for me, but welcome. I'm so happy to have you here. I hope that the start of your summer is going well. It is certainly stinking hot where I am on the Sunshine Coast in Queensland. But yeah, I hope you're having a good time. I know that this time of year, depending on your situation and also your personality type, can either be really daunting and overwhelming, or it can be really exciting. I think it's a bit of a mixture for me. I'm certainly an introvert, but I do also really enjoy this time of year, probably because the rest of my year is pretty chill, like pretty low key. So when there's, heaps of events on and things, I kind of embrace it because I know it's not like this all the time. But yeah, I hope you're having a good start to your summer. And if you're not, I am certainly thinking of you. But welcome to today's episode. I really wanted to speak about in this episode this idea of conversational hypnosis being hypnosis for people that don't believe in hypnosis. And if you're listening to me and you're not watching me, I'm doing like air quotes when I say believe in, because it's kind of funny. A lot of people do come to me and say that. They'll say, I'm a big skeptic about hypnosis and I don't necessarily believe in it, but I'm willing to give it a go. And I always greet them with like the utmost kindness and compassion and understanding. But in the back of my head, I am going, well, it's not something that you can either sort of believe in or not. It's scientifically backed. The subconscious is a pretty well understood thing, and hypnosis is just that relaxed state where we get into the theta brainwave. Like it's very it's very scientifically backed. So I'm like, it's not really something to believe in or not, but I understand why people have that point of view because of the misconceptions around hypnosis and what it is. And, I always think back to before I got into hypnotherapy or ever had it done on me, I would have had the exact same misconceptions, because whilst it is becoming so much more prominent within therapeutic spaces, it is still kind of seen as a bit of a woo-woo thing, which for so long, I was really pushing back on and really, pointing out to everybody that asked me about it how not woo-woo it was and how, scientifically backed it was. And, people have used hypnosis in surgeries for anesthetic, and, I would speak so much about that. But now I feel like I'm so much more confident in what I do that I don't feel the need to justify it to people anymore. But what I found is that with conversational hypnosis versus that more traditional style, it is a really more palatable way for people to do hypnosis that might not necessarily believe in it. And I find that it opens me up to a lot more people, the idea of conversational hypnosis, because it doesn't appear to others as maybe woo-woo as the misconceptions of hypnosis. So for conversational hypnosis, it is really through, exactly as it sounds, it's through conversation. So we utilize the naturally occurring state of hypnosis that happens in every conversation And that is the hypnotic element of it. We utilize these moments to facilitate change for our clients. So when we're explaining it to clients that maybe come to us and they say, I'm pretty skeptical about this thing, I always say to them, if you have ever driven somewhere and, you get to the destination and then suddenly you're like, geez, I don't even remember getting here. I don't even remember driving here. You've done hypnosis because you're driving on autopilot. If you've ever sort of been watching a show and you get lost in it, that's hypnosis. If you're scrolling, which we all do, and you're forgetting time and suddenly, an hour's gone past, that's hypnosis. When you're daydreaming, that is hypnosis. When you're absorbed in music, movies, that's hypnosis. Whenever you are doing anything that is so instinctual, that muscle memory, that's hypnosis. So people that come to me and say that they don't believe in hypnosis or that they don't think that they could be hypnotized, that's exactly what I say to them every time, because hypnosis is just focused attention with reduced resistance. So reduce resistance from their mind. So anybody can do that. Even I will sometimes do the explanation of, I love this one, or I get them to visualize that they have a lemon in their hand, and then I get them to visualize putting the lemon up to their mouth and biting in. And if they can taste it, which we all can, they can feel that sensation, that's hypnosis. So these kind of visuals and these just daily reminders of hypnosis, I always find really help, whether or not you're doing traditional hypnosis or you're doing conversational hypnosis. People just need to understand actually what hypnosis is versus what they think it is. So that is a really, really good way of describing it. But with the conversational hypnosis, I often find that I don't necessarily need to go into that stuff as much, because it truly is the form of hypnosis that is so much more palatable to clients that are skeptical about it. And of course, you all know that I find it's just the most effective form of hypnotherapy anyway. But it's a really, much more palatable way. And I suppose, the biggest misconceptions about hypnosis are that people will be out of control. And for me, at least, I work so much with clients that are just, really struggling with anxiety. For them, the idea of control is very, very important. And, one of their biggest fears is to not be in control. So I massively find that with conversational hypnosis, they are so much more open to it, but also I get such better results with them because they do have a much higher level of awareness than maybe otherwise they would in that traditional form of hypnosis. I remind them, you're going to remember everything about this. There's no way that, you will ever be made to do anything that you wouldn't want to do. Because I think that's also a really big fear for clients, is that they'll be in a hypnosis session and they'll be made to do something because of stage shows and things like that put that idea in their head. I always say, it's actually not about control, it's about cooperation. And cooperation and collaboration. We are working with your subconscious mind for you, not against you. And with conversational hypnosis, what we really find is that people are so much more open and willing to really go to these places within their mind, that maybe if they were in a traditional hypnosis session where their eyes are closed and they're sort of not really, not sure of sort of what's going on, and kind of can be a bit confusing, and having all these questions in their mind about, am I doing this right? Am I under hypnosis? Da 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 da. With conversational hypnosis, this just takes all of that out, and all they have to do is focus on the conversation that they're having with you, and you're guiding it. And, I always say as well, is like, I don't like traditional hypnosis because not that I don't like it, but an element of it that I don't like is that when a client's eyes are closed and you're just guiding the session, you don't know what's going on in their mind. Whereas with conversational hypnosis, it's questions, it's answers, it's talking. You can actually gauge so much better what is going on with the client in front of you. You can make sure that they're feeling okay, that they're safe, that they're not going on a spiral in their mind. Because I remember back when I started my practice, I was doing more traditional style of hypnosis, and I'd do a whole session with them, and then at the end, they'd say, oh yeah, there was a moment when I was really struggling with this or whatever, and because we weren't in conversation, I didn't know that, and I just found that I just didn't like that. I like to know what is going on with my clients so that I can really, really help them. And sometimes I just found with that more traditional style, where it wasn't as communicative, I lost that bit of collaboration with them. And that's really what we want our clients to feel, is that they're in collaboration with us, with their subconscious mind, to work for them, rather than them being, on this island alone in their mind and us having no idea what's going on. So that's why I like conversational hypnosis as a practitioner, because I feel more in control of the session in that way, which allows me to guide it so much more effectively. But yeah, that was a little tangent there, but I find that that's really, really important. And it's so much more palatable as well for clients, because if they know, particularly for clients that are struggling with things like anxiety, if they know they're going to be in full control the whole time, they're going to be so much more open. Because if they're already fearful of that, they're going to go into the session feeling like they need to put their guard up. And for a session where we're trying to overcome anxiety, that's just not effective. We want to go into sessions with having them feel like this is such a safe environment. This is so chill. We're just having a conversation. It's really flowy, which is why I always say have a discovery call beforehand so that you can iron out any of these details. They can ask any questions, any concerns that they have, they can tell you about, so that when we get into the session, we can just get straight into it. But yeah, I find that the conversational element of it, them with their eyes open looking at you, their guard is so much more down and open, as opposed to you just guiding a session. And almost like, sometimes with the more traditional hypnosis, it's quite forced, asking them to go back to specific memories and things like that. With the conversational as well, it really just allows them to feel more in the driver's seat, which I think is really important. We want to give them as much autonomy as possible, and yeah, sometimes the other way of doing it can kind of take that away. But I always notice that it is actually the people that come to me that say, I definitely can't be hypnotized, or hypnosis, that element of it doesn't do it for me, or I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. I always find that they are actually the ones that get really, really good results. And I think it's because they go in with almost like no expectation of it working, that they're kind of just going into it like, ugh, whatever happens, happens. And I find that attitude or that mindset is actually so good, because they go into it and they're just going to kind of answer with whatever comes to their mind, and they're just going to go with it, and they get the results. It's not to say that people that are open, of course, don't get results. They absolutely do. But it is always really interesting to see that the people that I think are the most skeptical typically come out with the best results, or maybe it just feels that way because they weren't necessarily expecting it. And I guess they just come in with an attitude of, well, you know what, this probably isn't going to work, but hey, let's see. And of course we know that it does. I've also had a lot of clients come to me, and I actually think it's quite amazing, but they come to me and they've had a bad experience with hypnotherapy, or not necessarily a bad one, but just one where it hasn't worked for them. But for some reason they open themselves up to trying it again or trying a new way of doing it. And that can really cloud their judgment of it. So I like that I do conversational hypnosis because I can say to them, hey, this is completely different than what you've done before. So I explain it to them in that sense so that they don't come into it thinking, you know, this doesn't work for me. This is a completely new way of doing it. And it kind of assures them like, hey, this can work for you. You're not just someone that can't be hypnotized. This is a completely new, a different, unique way of doing it. So conversational hypnosis, again, is so much more palatable for them because they've had that negative experience before, and they like this sort of new way of doing it. A lot of people, I guess, have this idea of hypnosis that you're going to just be completely out of it. And like I said, you know, you won't remember anything and all these misconceptions. And I think, you know, it's like I said, it's been something that I've been really pushing against for so long within my business, that when I changed to conversational hypnosis, I found that I just didn't need to do that as much. It kind of just took that extra pressure off that I had to always justify what I do. As I say, hey, forget anything you know about hypnosis. Like, I literally say that all the time. Forget everything that you think you know about it. I even say that to my students who come and practice with me. I say, forget everything that you think you know about hypnosis. This is a completely different way of doing it. And I think that is just for people like, oh, okay, like this isn't the stage hypnosis. This isn't anything where I'm not going to be in control. This is a completely different way of doing it. And again, I'll say it 1,000 times, it's so much more palatable. It kind of like removes the pressure of it. I also find that I often like actually really try and validate their skepticism. I validate it so much. I say, hey, like, yeah, you have a valid reason to be skeptical. You know, those stage shows and whatever, they can misrepresent hypnosis, but hey, this is completely different. I had the exact same thoughts before I tried hypnotherapy. I felt the exact same way. I also tell them, which is just true, all of my clients that come to me are typically pretty skeptical about this, but we get really, really good results. So I always say that to them because I want to validate that. I don't want them to think that I just I completely don't understand them, and that, you know, I'm so in this world of hypnosis that is a world that they're not a part of and I couldn't possibly understand. Like, I get it. And I find that kind of makes them feel like, oh, okay, you know, she understands why I would be skeptical, and this is therefore very different. So yeah, I find that just leveling with them on that level actually really, really helps. But yeah, honestly, I find that the people that are really type A about things and like really, I suppose, wanting to control things, I find that the conversational hypnosis works so well for them because they have that element of control. They have that element of being aware, you know, eyes are open, everything. That conversational hypnosis truly is the hypnotherapy for people that don't believe in hypnotherapy. And, you know, like when I say that, it's still funny, you know, people that don't believe in it. But yeah, I find that it is, I get more clients because of it. It opens me up to so many more people. It opens a great therapy to people that otherwise necessarily wouldn't have reached out for that. Yeah, I just find that my business really, really skyrocketed once I kind of shifted from that more traditional style of hypnosis to this kind of more relatable, less alternative, at least seeming, way of hypnotherapy. And yeah, it massively skyrocketed my business, but it also just happens that it also, like, the results massively skyrocketed as well. So yeah, I think if you are someone that is doing traditional hypnosis and you're wanting to like add another layer to your practice that is not only super effective but also will open you up to more clients, I truly think learning conversational hypnosis will change your business. But also, if you are a practitioner of, say, you know, kinesiology or nutritionist, psychologist, and you're wanting to include hypnotherapy into your business, I encourage you to include conversational hypnotherapy into your business, because you are, from my experience and my students' experience, going to open yourself up to so many more clients than you would with just normal hypnotherapy. But also, you're going to get really, really good results for them with this way, because you're going to have so much less resistance from them, and it's going to be so much more natural and flowy and easy and effective. So yeah, if you are wanting to learn, the link below to learn with me is in the description. You can start learning straight away through the online recorded trainings, and then the next live training will be in sort of mid-January, I'm thinking. But yeah, you can sign up now and start learning straight away, and then just come along to the live training in January. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that kind of enlightened you a little bit about how conversational hypnosis is honestly the most palatable form of it, will open you up to so many more clients, and of course you'll get really good results for them. So thank you for listening, and I will speak to you soon. Bye.